Check it. Oh, there you go. Test. It's on. Oh, there you go. All right. Or better. I will start. Welcome to the September 1, 2023 meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. Thanks to our greeters, Craig Tapp, and our exchange students who will speak to us in just a moment. Thanks to Eric, our ticket master. Thanks to the program group that provides our great program, Pete Bales, Mark Weinstein, and Mike Swig. Thanks to Jim Gundel for the website maintenance. And I would like to ask Denny Jarvie to come and provide an invitation for us.
Well, good afternoon and happy September. Would you please join me in prayer? Oh, Holy Creator, bless this food for the nourishment and strengthening us for the burdens of service which we gladly shoulder. In your name, amen.
I like the brevity. It's nice. So, okay. Joe Dink, if you're on with secondary.
So we're at 56 today, and we have a couple of guests. Jay, you go first.
I've got Brianna here with me today. Dave pointed out everybody has all their digits, so it's been a good week.
And then Paul has a guest.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Tyler Alexander. Tyler is our new Director of Business Services. Last year, he was the principal at Kettering Fairmont and was there for 8 years. So we're excited to welcome him to Beavercreek. He's replacing Greg Thompson, who went on to Upper Arlington. So glad to have Tyler.
We're good with guests? Okay. So I'd like to ask our now eating exchange students to come up and introduce themselves. You can tell I was a waiter trained to wait till your mouth is full. Call you up. You guys don't mind coming forward and introducing yourselves? If there are any hard feelings, this was Eric's idea. So leave it at that. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hello, I'm Henry. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Germany. I will be here for 1 year. I'm going to Beavercreek High School. I'm a junior. Yeah, in Germany I play soccer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Nicola. I'm from Bosnia. I'm 17 years old. Also go to Beavercreek, and also will be here for 1 year. And also back home I play soccer. Yeah.
Welcome.
Don Adams, come on down. Just gonna go to his head.
Good afternoon and welcome to our exchange students. We're glad you're here. Today is September 1st. 244th day of the year. It's hard to believe it's that far into it. It's flying by. Today we celebrate Bring Your Manners to Work Day or Bring Your Manners to Dinner Day. Chicken Boy Day. Emma M. Nutt Day. She was the world's first female telephone operator. Ginger Cat Appreciation Day, National Doodle Day, National No Rhyme Nor Reason Day, Pink Cadillac Day, and World Letter Writing Day. So that's a lost art anymore. It's also International Enthusiasm Week, so everybody get excited. I know I am. It's National Nutrition Week and National Sweet Corn Week. Some things that happened in this day in history. Pennsylvania's new state house bell, known today as the Liberty Bell, arrived in Philadelphia. So the first time they rang it, it cracked. So it's 1799, the Bank of Manhattan Company opened New York City, Chase Manhattan. And yeah, it's been a long time ago. In 1859, the first Pullman sleeping car was put in service. As I said already, the first female telephone operator in 1878. In 1939, World War II started when Germany invaded Poland. In the club this week, we have member anniversary. David Cusack is 12 years. And we have a wedding anniversary. David and Amanda Hayes, 25 years. If a bottle of poison reaches an expiration date, is it more poisonous or less poisonous? Which letter is silent in the word scent? Smell, scent. Is it the S or is it the C? Do twins ever realize that one of them was unplanned? And you know, every time you clean something, you just make something else dirty. If people evolved from monkeys, why are monkeys still around? Why is there a D in fridge and not a refrigerator? As I've grown older, I've learned that pleasing everyone is impossible, but making everyone mad is a piece of cake. And this is a good one for me. I'm responsible for what I say, not for what you understand. Common sense is like deodorant. The people who need it the most never use it. And my tolerance for idiots is extremely low these days. I used to have some immunity built up, but obviously there's a new strain out there. And it's not my age that bothers me, it's the side effects. Turns out being a senior is mostly just Googling how to do stuff. I want to be 18 again and ruin my life differently. I've got several new ideas. And I'm also on 2 simultaneous diets. I wasn't getting enough food on just one. I put my scale in the bathroom corner, and that's where that little liar will stay until it apologizes. My wife says I keep pushing her buttons. If that were true, I'd have found mute by now. There's no such thing as a grouchy old person. The truth is that once you get old, you stop being polite and start being honest. Little Johnny was playing with something on the road, and his local priest came up to him and said, "Hello, Johnny, what are you playing with?" Little Johnny says, "Sulfuric acid." And the Father Walsh said, "You mustn't play with that, it's dangerous." Little Johnny said, "I don't tell you not to play with holy water." "No, because holy water is good. The other day I put holy water on a pregnant woman's tummy and she passed a baby boy." "That's nothing," Little Johnny said. "The other day I put sulfuric acid on my dog's butt and he passed a Ferrari." Judge Jeffries was interviewing a woman regarding her divorce and asked, "What exactly are your grounds for divorce?" Amy replied, "Approximately 4 acres and a nice little home in the middle of the property with a stream running by." "No," Judge Jeffries continued, "I mean the foundation of this case." "It's made of concrete, brick, and mortar," she replied. "I mean, what are your relations like?" "Oh, well, I have an aunt and uncle living near town, and so does my husband's parents." "You have a real grudge?" "No, we haven't," Amy replied. "We have a 2-car carport and never really needed one." "Please," Judge Jeffries took a deep breath and tried again. "Is there any infidelity in your marriage?" "Yes, both my sons and daughters have stereo sets." We don't necessarily like music, but the answer to your question is yes. Ma'am, Judge Jeffrey asked, does your husband ever beat you up? Oh, yes, about twice a week. He gets up earlier than I do. Finally, in frustration, the judge asked, lady, why do you want a divorce? Oh, I don't want a divorce, he replied. I never wanted a divorce. My husband does. He says he doesn't understand me. And if your girlfriend comes home in a white suit covered in bee stings and smelling like honey, she's probably a keeper. A young man had walked into his insurance company, wanted coverage for his new motorcycle. Only one question confused him. The agent said, "You have a lien on the vehicle." He said, "I got a kickstand. Is that the same thing?" And then there was a ventriloquist performing with his dummy on his lap. He was telling dumb blonde jokes. When a young lady jumped at her feet, "What gives you the right to stereotype blondes that way?" she demands. "What does hair color have to do with how a human being acts?" Flustered, the ventriloquist began to stammer out an apology. She said, "You keep out of this. I'm talking to the jerk on your lap." Friendship between men and women. A woman doesn't come home one night. The next day she tells her husband she slept over at her girlfriend's house. The husband calls his wife's 10 best friends. None of them know anything about it. Friendship between men. A man doesn't come home one night. The next day he tells his wife that he slept over at a friend's house. The wife calls her husband's 10 best friends. 8 of them confirmed that he had slept over, and 2 of them said he's still there. And there was an old married couple, the sitter hit the pillows when the old man passed gas and said 7 points. His wife rolled over and says, "What in the world was that?" "It's called park football." A minute later, his wife lets one and says, "Touchdown, tie score." About 5 minutes later, the old man lets another one go. He said, "Good, I'm ahead 14-7. Not to be outdone, the wife does it again. "Touchdown, tie score." 5 seconds go by and she lets out a little squeaker and says, "Field goal, I lead 17-14. Now the pressure's on the old man. He refuses to get beaten by his wife, so he strains really hard. Since defeat is totally unacceptable, he gives up everything he's got and accidentally poops the bed. The wife said, "What the heck was that?" "Halftime, switch sides." Your chances of success in any undertaking can always be measured by your belief in yourself. And be sure to put your feet in the right place and then stand firm. Today's fines. If you've ever used a telephone with an operator, that's $1. Oh boy. There are some of you in here, I know that's been done. If you are ridden in a train with a sleeper, that's $1. If you've not seen the Liberty Bell, that's $1. If you've written a letter by hand, that's $1. I didn't see anybody late today. And if you're not wearing your rotary pin, that's $1. David?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, with the great programs we have, I wonder often why our membership doesn't more frequently invite their spouses. I never wonder that about Don. I know that. The material would not allow it. All right, happy bucks. Alex.
As I mentioned, Lieutenant Father Gill was in Hawaii with Ohio Task Force 1 with the cadaver dog. The day he returned back to Ohio, Lieutenant Doug Ramsdale got activated to go to the hurricanes in East South Florida right now. Keep those guys on your thoughts and prayers.
Other happy bucks. Yes, sir.
I gave a happy buck, but it's really for Tyler. Tyler promised his son a great Christmas present, and yesterday Tyler got to take his son golfing with Jim Breach and Anthony Munoz. So what a great experience for his son to go through.
Did he outdrive Munoz?
He did not.
Other happy bucks.
I got a couple here. I want to congratulate my wife Karen. She passed her national boards for counseling. So yesterday.
Congratulations. Other happy bucks. Let's do the ticket drawing then. Oh, David, what you got?
I got another today.
Actually, you're done.
You got a little helicopter. I've got both. I've got a hunt flag.
So thank you for show and tell, David. All right. Anybody else have any toys they would like to show us? Any other happy bucks? Shannon.
I'm gonna put a happy buck in for Brianna. Her and her sister has decided they're gonna go to Germany for Oktoberfest, so, end of the week, she gets to, pack on a plane and go for 2 weeks to Germany, so that's part of our exchange student program.
Yeah,
Hey,
maybe,
how would you on that?
you may be able to get some pointers over there.
You're on the student.
All right, Eric.
So, I'm here every week for Rotary, but the middle of January, I decided to go on a trip. I'm flying to Miami, and my next stop is like San Jose, Cuba, and then I come home from Havana on the way back. So I'll be in Cuba from like the 14th of January till the 20th of January on a kind of it's a Rotary trip, so it'll be fun.
Any other happy bucks? Okay, ticket drawing. Again, remember that half of the proceeds go to our Christmas basket project. 956015. All right, Jerry Pfeiffer. But you just, Ed, you just saved yourself $5 from making a joke there anyway, so you're good there. Cards.
You already sent $5 out of me for the fines.
The cards up there?
Yeah. All right.
Who got
All right. Jerry Pfeiffer. Yeah. You can put a queen of hearts. So close, and then close enough, the hot grows. All right, what announcements do you have? Anybody have announcements?
We got Beavercreek Place, third and March on the night at 7 at home.
Okay. Jim, do we have a full roster of volunteers for a popcorn festival? Okay, remember when you signed up to serve. So a couple announcements about the club. So I promised that we would get out in the community more and do some more actual hands-on. I'm working with the Parks Department. I think we're gonna have back-to-back weekends in September or Saturday mornings that don't conflict with Buckeye football games. Where for us to be out in the parks, doing a little bit of help. Probably gonna be at one of the playgrounds spreading mulch, and we're gonna, at the new park, we're gonna probably be doing a little bit of kind of trail maintenance. As I mentioned up in the slides, if you have an idea of something we could be out there doing that kind of hits your heart, let us know and we'll be happy to consider it. Okay, any other announcements? Yes, ma'am?
Okay, I owe you information that, I don't think I said this out loud in this whole group. I started an organization that was a 501(c), which is a charitable organization. We were all volunteers. We had a big gala every year when we announced a lifetime achievement award winner. We raised a lot of money, and the result of it was, over the years, we gave over $200,000 to STEM students at Wright State for scholarships. And I'm gonna, when I retire, that's the one thing that didn't survive, so I'm gonna try and get it for them. So if anybody has any ideas, wants to help, I'll do all the heavy lifting.
Okay.
Momentum behind myself.
Other announcements? Okay, Jonathan, you come up to introduce our speaker.
Yes. Oh, you're welcome. All right, well, first of all, Henry, we being some of the younger guys here, I do like your Jordans, so, game recognizes game, so. Welcome again from Germany. Do want to introduce, a person that I've gotten to know, quite well over the last few years, Karen Peterball. She is the director at the Greene County Council on Aging. And she had a whole long paragraph, but she said you could actually condense it down a little bit. She graduated from the Ohio State University, OH. And they're on CBS, so you can watch it tomorrow. And also her master's from Rice State University. She's been the council, with the council as a director since 1999, so approaching almost 25 years. We are blessed to have her in the county. She does an amazing job, and she credits all the success to the wonderful board members that she's had, which some are in the room. So without any further ado, Karen Peterball.
Thank you, Jonathan. If you haven't figured out, he's on the board. Okay, well, it's nice to be back. It's been a couple years. I was commenting earlier about my very first Beavercreek Rotarian meeting many years ago, and it's changed so much. And it was great back then, don't get me wrong, but it's much better. And it's a much brighter place, because back then, I know it wasn't the bowling alley that I heard about the Cusack, but it was, of course, Walnut Grove, and they never opened the curtains back in those days for some reason. So anyway, well, I'm here just to kind of give you an overview of the council. There are a few new faces in here, so you may not be as aware of us as other folks. And just to hit a few highlights, Dave was kind enough to pass out a did you know sheet that there's just a few on each table. If you want others, just you can let me know. Just a few factoids that might be of interest to you. But I also have a few handouts back on the table. So I'm a firm believer in not wasting resources, especially since I'm using your taxpayer dollars to for the council. So if there's anything I comment on that's back there that is of interest, just pick it up and take it with you, and then I will take the rest back to the office. But as a council, we've been around since 1979, incorporated in 81. Yes, I'm coming up on my 23rd year as the director, which is just kind of remarkable that it's been that long, right, Fran? I think Fran was in those early days. But it was with the council actually for about 11 years prior to that in other aspects. So we are a not-for-profit organization. Our name would make you think we're part of the county government, which we are not. But we partner with the county, of course, and appreciate their support. And in fact, our Beavercreek office is over on Meadow Bridge in one of their buildings that we lease from them, and that's been a great addition to our operation. So we do have a staff of 30 people, which is, again, when we first started, it was a staff of one, so it's kind of mind blowing. The majority of those folks are care managers, so they are social workers, and we do have one nurse, and they provide a lot of wonderful services and support to community members. Just a couple of things. Yes, we are supported by the Senior Services Levy. That's pretty much our primary revenue source. We do have a grant from the Area Agency on Aging, which is a totally different animal, and it's state and federal dollars. We generate about $200,000 a year from that. In and of itself is great, but the other piece of that is that we use all those dollars for purchasing direct services. So there's no admin. We don't use it even for our care management. So what we're able to do is then use their dollars first, and then we use the Greene County tax dollars after that. So it's been great. It's also helped us keep ourselves financially healthy. But I will say with COVID, like many organizations, and unlike many organizations, we did not meet the budgets we had originally planned, because a big part of what we do is we purchase services for individual seniors. And as we all know, that organizations were struggling to have people to be able to do that, and we had many months of it was just hard to do that. So those two combined, we are in very good financial stead, and which is also allowing the organization for the next levy to go for a renewal versus, asking for any additional funds. But our primary office is in Xenia. We're on Second Street across the Nazarene Church, in the building that we actually purchased from the Nazarene Church. Years and years ago, I would have never in a million years dreamed that we would own a building. I would assume we would just lease space like a lot of groups. But we had an opportunity to do that. It was well within our resources, and it was just a wonderful partnership. So we're very grateful for that. Our location, if you haven't been there, again, is right on Second Street, and we're told by the people who know, these types of stats. I'm not sure how they figure it out, but about 40,000 vehicles, drive by our office on a very regular basis. So we are seeing. We have an old traditional sign near the road where we put different messages out so we can make ourselves known that way as well. Anything from during the heat, we remind people to check on your neighbors and be cautious. The school's just started, so we talk about watching out for the children. Sometimes it's something funny, sometimes it's something very serious. So that's been kind of fun to be able to do. But in terms of the council, the most important thing that we do is provide information. The most important thing. And whether you believe it or not, everybody needs information. So we are truly an organization that is here to serve, most everybody. So whether you're older or younger, whether you're in need of any particular specific service, it doesn't matter. We all need information. So we have a lot of people that just pick up the phone, give us a call, walk in, send us an email, send a message through our website with any number of questions. So my first message to you is to keep that in mind, because there may be just something that comes up and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I'm not sure what the next step is. We may have the answer for you. And if we don't have the answer, there's a good chance that we know where to direct you to. Every once in a while, our answer is, I'm actually sorry, there's not a program for that, or this is the route you're most likely going to have to take. But sometimes we need that information as well. So we all need information. One of the items that I brought, just brought a few. Most people these days like everything online, but we still print out our directory of services. So it's a booklet that has lots and lots of stuff in it. And it's stuff that, again, you maybe need to call us about, but it's right here at your fingertips. It's got a lot of, course, agency information, the things related to common things that we experience related to older adults and caregivers and so forth, complaining and what have you. The next most important thing we do is education. We have a lot of opportunities to educate people on any number of topics. I would contend we all need to be educated. We all need to be pursuing education. We learn something new every day. Obviously, you come to Rotary and you learn a lot of things. Some things are maybe could have lived without learning, but that's okay. But we do need to continue to educate ourselves for out of necessity, out of planning for our future. But to be honest with you, just to have the best aging experience we can, because the more we're working our brains, the better. We've all, seen stories, research, and what have you, but it's all true. Continue to keep our brains active, and one of the best ways we can do that is to educate ourselves, whether it's by coming to a program, or it's going to the library, or whether it's, continuing to read, going to classes, what have you. It's just so important. So some of the educational topics that we focus on, of course, Medicare. My absolute favorite topic in the whole wide world. And if you haven't heard of it, it's insurance. It's an insurance program, and about 98% of people who are over 65 are beneficiaries of this. But it's very confusing. It's very challenging. But I would have to say that any type of health insurance is confusing and challenging. It's just a lot of people. When you're working, you have an HR person you can go to, and they can help navigate it with you. They can help advocate for you. When you are retired and you're on Medicare, a lot of times you feel like it's just me out here. What do I do? And one of the things you could do, of course, is to call the council and see how we can maybe support. Maybe you're having an issue with your actual healthcare, getting something paid or processed or set up. That may be something we can assist with. But we've talked to a lot of people who are getting close to that 65, and we're going to help you get enrolled. And it's we have a lot of people that have the feeling that, well, I'm going to be 60, it's just going to happen. Medicare doesn't just happen. And you have some steps, just like Social Security. Yeah, you're entitled to it, but there's some steps that you have to take. So we're a stop for you to get assistance with that. In terms of another step of Medicare open enrollment, we're all familiar with that term related to healthcare, but it's so important for Medicare beneficiaries. Open enrollment starts October 15th, goes through December 7th. Seems like, well, that's a long way away. I mean, we fine. We just heard what you said, 244 or the 244th day of the year. And most of us are thinking, wasn't it just February? So trust me, December 7th is going to be here before you know it. So we need to get on top of getting our options reviewed. A lot of people think, well, what I have now works just fine. Well, the plans change. So is the plan you have now going to be okay for 2024? Because once 2024 hits, you can't switch it. So we want people to think ahead, get your information and be able to choose what's best for you. That is something that we assist with. There are a lot of other entities out there that do. We're not insurance professionals. So when we are in the mix, we're just pulling down all of the options that fit your scenario, sharing them with you, sharing you the impact of the options, and then you decide, well, what's best for you, because we're all different. We all have, certain things that are extra important to us related to our healthcare and our prescriptions, which pharmacy, would you rather have no premium and higher this or that? So we're going to walk you through that. So if you happen to be a beneficiary and you haven't been given this any thought, please do, as we hit toward October 15th, first week of October is when the plans hit Medicare.gov. I don't remember the numbers for this year, but there are a lot of, especially for prescriptions, there's a lot of plans, there's a lot of advantage plans. A lot of people don't understand the difference between traditional Medicare and advantage plans. So again, we're your source to get you educated about that. So, the best mind makes a good decision when you're informed and educated. Someone who's confused usually is just going to either ignore it or say no. And I know there's politicians in the room know that really well. So that's a really important piece. We do programming related to memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's disease, something that most of us we do think about, and the older we get, we think about it more and more. But it's important again to educate ourselves about that, and we definitely are, I would say, a wonderful source for anybody related to that, whether it's for your own personal situation yourself, whether you're caring for a spouse or sibling, or if it's a parent or a neighbor, or just wanting to, down the road, it could happen. I would be delighted to kind of walk with you. So education is real important, wellness programs and so on. One thing that I know we're definitely known for is the importance of fall prevention. And one of the flyers I have back there is for our fall prevention wellness event, which is on the 27th of September. Today kicks off Fall Prevention Awareness Month, and we need to think about it all throughout the year, but we give special attention to it now. Falls are significant in the older population. And I bet if I could do a little survey of folks in the room, I bet there are a few people here that have taken a little tumble here and there. Even the young folks, any of us can fall. Any of us can have the flu and you get up in the morning and you go to the restroom and you're uneasy and you take a tumble. Some of us have other mobility issues that make falls very common. Changed our medication, and that's the one of the side effects. So we want to just bring more attention to the importance of trying to keep upright, trying to keep safe. And one of the things we do in addition to that promotion and that particular event and talking to people about balance and strength training and all these very important things is grab our in the bathroom. So I know several of you in this room have allowed us to install grab bars, and it's just so important. You know, again, that's where good majority of the falls happen. I'm not saying it's going to prevent a fall. In many cases it does, but if nothing else, we can help minimize the impact of the fall. And trust me, when you fall, there's a good chance you're going to be heading over to one of the hospitals, and it's not where any of us want to go. So, the older we get, the harder it is to get back from falls and injuries. And unfortunately, the number of deaths that we experience with falls in older adults is pretty significant. So, that's a very important thing. So if you don't have grab bars in your bathroom, if you live in Green County and you're 60 and better, we'd be happy to assist you with that. Unless you want to go plate it down inside a bar, then you're out of luck. But if you don't mind a chrome gnarled handled bar next to the commode or coming outside of the shower, we can get you set up. I would say maybe 1 in 150 bars we can't put in because of the way the bathroom is set up, but for the most part, we're able to do that for you. So please pass the word. So the other thing that's extra significant is just getting people thinking about the future. One of our best loved programs is a 4-week class called It's My Money, My Life, My Stuff, My Stuff, My Life, and where we talk about legal and financial planning. We talk about insurance. We talk about resources like the counseling to get people thinking. We're not trying to sell anything. We're not trying to convince you to do things a certain way. We're just trying to help you become more educated about these topics. A lot of us, we know, yeah, we do. We did our wills, 37 years ago. The kids are grown now, so we probably don't need grandma to be, take guardianship if we pass away. But sometimes we don't get around to it. Many of us think, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure my house is titled, so if I pass away, transfer on death, but is it? That's something that you just automatically pull up and check. We think, yeah, I have insurance. I have life insurance. I don't really know what the coverage is. I'm not really sure what the process is in case someone passes away. So I'll worry about that later. So there are a lot of things that we need to talk about, we need to plan for, if you so choose. Every once in a while, I'll talk to a senior and they say, yeah, I have what I have and just let my kids figure it out when I'm gone. It's up to them, But most of us would like things to be as smooth as possible for our children, for our grandchildren, or whomever is in our world. Maybe we've wanted a trust, and we haven't got to it, or maybe we think we have to have a trust. We find out we don't, or we have a trust and it's not working for us. Again, there's all this information out there, and sometimes people or marketing convince us to do something, but maybe it really isn't the right thing for us. So this is an opportunity to kind of check what you got, what you don't have, and figure out what you need. I was talking to someone actually this morning whose husband, they found out that they're looking at some cancer, and they're feeling sort of confident that they can get through this in terms of him surviving, but they're not sure. So they're talking about the legal issues, and yet we're going to go talk to the attorney. And so my advice to them is, I'm sure your attorney's great, and that's real important, and getting that appointment is important. But what you need to do is you need to figure out what your objectives are related to meeting with your attorney, or any professional like that, because it's really easy for an attorney. They're in the room, they're all great, but they may focus on a strategy, a particular tool or product, but if you don't know what your objectives are with whatever it is you do, it's really hard to figure out what tool or strategy you're going to use. So I just encourage them to sit down and figure out what outcomes you want out of that process. So those are the types of things we really try to walk people through. Yes, we provide grants to the senior centers. I know many of you in the room are very aware of that. But did you know that about 50% of the Beavercreek Senior Center's budget comes from the Council on Aging and from the Senior Services Levy Funds? So we have a significant financial impact on the senior centers, who all do a tremendous job, provide some wonderful services and support. But but, you know, they can't, you know, it takes a little bit of money to do that. So we have 9 senior centers in Greene County, and all of them receive some level of funding. It probably doesn't come as a surprise that Beavercreek Center, in terms of senior center services and transportation, receive the most dollars. We have the highest number of seniors in the Beavercreek Township community. Although we serve a little bit more in the Xenia community, but that's based on the nature of seniors in Greene County, but it's pretty close. So, but we provide about $1.2 million to the senior centers each year. We also, I mentioned that the staff having about 30, that many of them are care managers. We serve about 1,300 seniors every month with some kind of purchase services. So the service we provide the most of is an emergency response system, which I think we're all familiar with, you know, lifeline button of some sort, you know, a pendant, a bracelet. A growing majority of the seniors we're involved with have a GPS model. We don't believe you have to be homebound to get all the services. We want you to be as engaged and active as possible. So a GPS model is very helpful when you're out in the car, you're traveling around Greene County, or you're traveling further away than that. One of the types of the ERS includes a fall monitor. So we got an alert this morning actually on a senior who fell, but they actually by the time the squad was able to deal with it and get to the sun, they already knew she was falling because it was anticipating the fall. So it's not like she fell and then she pushed a button. It was the unit itself that knew that she was falling. So, and she's doing great. She's doing okay. And I understand she's getting ready to go to bridge. So we're good. But that's just a very wonderful service. We have people that have home delivered meals. People who get those every day. We have people that get them every week, a collection of meals, or even every 2 weeks, depending on their situation. I always caution people that meals are great. You don't need to eat, but they're not going to be as great as what you use to cook, unless you're a really bad cook and maybe you're a lot better. But you know, it is nutrition. The daily meals, the extra benefit of that is having someone that's there checking on you. Checking on mom. We have people that go to adult daycare. It's a great respite for the caregivers, because the majority of people who do go to day centers have some level of cognitive impairment, whether it is specifically Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or Lewy body or whatever the case may be. So that's a tremendous resource. We have people that have a little bit of help with their home, but I do have to tell you that, because we get these calls, we're not housekeepers. You know, we're not coming in and making sure everything's spotless and you can eat off the floors. It's about keeping things as tidy as we can, and hopefully with your assistance, because if someone has some abilities, we want them to be partnering. If your son and daughter-in-law lives, we're not going into their room and their bathroom and cleaning there as well. So, because when we originally went out to the voters of Greene County and with our plan, what we wanted to do when we first started out, we said it's based on need, and it's not based on a want. And we had an interesting example of kind of a change related to that. I was talking to a care manager a couple of weeks ago, and one of his caregivers, his spouse, the wife, passed away recently. And he'd been doing a tremendous job caring for her, and it was a very challenging situation. And after a little bit of time passed, the care manager met with him to see how he's doing and figure out, okay, now where we go from here. And they agreed that having an emergency response system for him made good sense. They weren't going to continue the meals because now he's going to be able to get out more, and he felt like he could, he's going to be okay with that. And then he brought up homemaking. So we had someone going in, I think just once a week for a few hours to do some light housekeeping, but he wanted to keep that. And so the care manager said, "Are you having some difficulty taking care of your house?" "Oh no, I'm just lazy." So he's very honest about that. And so that was a teaching opportunity for the care manager to say, well, Probably not, doesn't make a lot of sense for us to provide that to you. We do remind people where the dollars come from. And he understood and, took it, I think he said, well, what the heck, I'll go for it. But not, not everyone is that gracious. And I would say, again, at least 95% of people we interact with, they're very appreciative of anything that we can do. They're very patient, which they have to be in this environment. They're very thoughtful about what they might be willing to allow us to do. But again, it has to be related to need and not just, I really would like this. This would be very convenient for me. We have a situation that one of the care managers is dealing with where a daughter is actually lives with the parents, and she's doing a great job kind of keeping them, at home and what have you. But you do have someone that's going in again to do a little bit of assistance, but they kept changing the schedule because they and not just because of the medical appointments or whatever, it was more out of convenience. Well, no, I'm gonna be home, so I'll just, they would call the agency, said, no, don't send anyone today, but can they come Thursday? Kept going back and forth. And you guys are business folks, that's a hard way to run a business. If you're changing schedules all the time, and it's difficult enough to find good quality, compassionate people to work with older adults. If you're always changing the schedule, it's just not going to work. So in that case, we're having to tell the family that what your needs really don't fit with what we can do for you. Here's some other resources you might want to try. Unfortunately, they also have financial resources, so they have other options. But again, we have to be responsible and be accountable for those dollars. So again, we do a lot for a lot of people. We, especially as the director, I never take for granted where our resources come from. Very appreciative of that, and any opportunity I have to thank the community, we do that. But and remind the staff, that this isn't just about trying to do the best for the seniors. We are accountable, and the community has every right to know how we're spending their dollars. We generate just about $6 million a year from the senior services levy, which is real money. For some of you maybe it's not, but for most of us that's real money. And so to make sure that we are spending it in the best possible way, that's critical. I will say that because we are not a part of we're not a part of the county. I report to a board. They provide tremendous support and guidance, but they allow us to do things that kind of make sense. And sometimes procedures and requirements and bureaucracy can get in the way of doing certain things. So we've been able to kind of personalize those types of things with the council to make things as easy and appropriate as we can to serve the community. Now, if you would call us today and, about your parent and wanting to get some services, thinking that might be a great benefit, we're gonna talk with you. We're gonna get some information. We're gonna try to give you some guidance, right there on the phone if that's helpful. We're gonna have a triage care manager call you typically within a week or so, just to get more information, to see if you need maybe some medical equipment that we might have, to maybe get those grab bars ordered and installed. For some people, we send out our financial screen early because maybe they're really trying to get that ERS, daughter's getting ready to go out of town, and that would be just a great safety net for her that could be put in place. And that's another component of that financial screen. We're here for you if you have no money, or if you have you have lots and lots of money. It's just if you have more money on this side, you're going to pay a portion of the cost. So, and about 60% of the folks we serve have a copay with us. It could be 5% and it could be 100%, but even 100%, it's a discounted amount because of how we do our billing. So, and that actually generates about $300,000 a year for the organization, which again goes back into providing services. So, and again, there might be some other things that we're not the appropriate organization for, but we're going to try to guide you. And Dave and I were chatting earlier about another area. As we get older, You know, we need to work our brains, we need to, you know, obviously, we all know we need to move more, we need to eat better and all that kind of stuff. But we need to have purpose. We all need purpose, no matter if we are 16 or 17, we play soccer in another country, or if we're 99 years old. We need to have a reason to get up in the morning. And that's can be difficult for some folks to figure out what that is, or especially if they maybe have a recent loss of a longtime spouse, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so we really encourage the importance of not just socialization, but finding a way to, again, fill yourself up. And for that, for some people, that could be a volunteering. So it could be as a Rotarian, you're going to go out, you're going to help with the, you know, with the parks and so forth. But for some people, maybe they want to do something one-on-one. Maybe I always want to work with kids. I know one of the things that we do, we have a volunteer coordinator, and we're blessed with the number of volunteers that assist us directly. But we sit down with seniors to help them figure out what they want to do, you know, what would build them up, what talents would they want to share. And again, as I was talking with Dave, when he does retire one day, he probably isn't going to want to you know, do advanced directive and legal work with everybody. You know, he may want to try something new and different, just like any of us. So, you know, not all accountants want to be accountants, you know, until they die. So we sit down and try to help you figure that out, and see if we can link you with an entity or an organization that might fill that need. But I can't say enough for being purposeful in figuring out what your purpose is. There's a lot of people out there that'd be happy to tell you what your purpose could be, but this needs to come from you. And it just makes, again, our aging experience so much better. So, in terms of resources, I've got, you know, a few directories over there. I have the fall prevention, wellness event, flyers over there. The open enrollment is coming up. So if that's something that you would appreciate our assistance with, or you want to share that information with others, please do. And I also brought our current newsletter in. If you've never seen that, that's something that's, of course, online. It can be sent out electronically and so forth. And I actually even brought a couple of It's My Money brochures if anyone's interested. What just is that program? Would be happy to help you with. But if I can leave you with anything today, I would say, just for your own personal situation, think about where you are now, where you want to be. There's some pieces that you know you kind of need to handle, whether you're connected with us or not. We all need to just be looking forward and planning, because sometimes when you really need whatever it may be, I mean, the moment's now, but the moment was yesterday. And it's really hard when you're in a stressful situation to now decide, oh, now I need to figure out how my property is titled, or what my long-term care insurance benefits really will cover, or whatever the case may be. So that would be my message for you today. And I just appreciate all the support that we get from all of you. And if there are any questions I could answer, except from Eric, no.
Not a question specifically, but a statement. I think it's really important that you make sure that you have a trust in addition to a will, because I'm settling my mother-in-law's estate, and it's in Indiana, and it's a lot harder when it's just a will. You gotta go through probate, you gotta hire attorneys, you gotta do all kinds of stuff, you gotta be supervised by the court, you gotta put up bonds and all kinds of other garbage that might come along. The second thing is that you need to make sure that your trust is still executable. I had a friend of mine who passed away recently, and the trustee was a bank. The bank was no longer, had resigned as trustee. There was no one to take over the trust. They couldn't transfer cars. They couldn't do anything with it. They had to hire an attorney to get the job done. So it's really important to look at that stuff. And I won't make any judgments or recommendations of attorneys in the Rotary Club, but we have at least one.
And not to contradict Eric, but I'm going to. I would say that a trust is great for some people in some situations. So that is why it's so important to figure out what your objectives are, what are you trying to accomplish, and then you sit down with the professionals and together figure out what would work. Because for a lot of people, a trust is not necessary. You can get everything set up where everything's gonna just transfer as you may want it to do so, but again, focus on those objectives. What are you trying to accomplish for you, for your immediate loved ones, for the community, whatever is important to you, and then make sure you articulate that with whomever you're working with, and then figure out what is best for you. But yeah, but you need to be informed. You need to know. So, but with that, I'm gonna say thank you. I'll be here for a few minutes if anyone has a question, and I just appreciate being invited to join me.
Thank you so much, and we have had Karen sign a book that we're donating to the community library in honor of her presentation today. Certainly appreciate it. So oftentimes we hear people who think that the Council on Aging is only for people who don't have any funds or whatever, but it is a great clearinghouse of information. Whether you're a caregiver, whether you need assistance, the best organization for getting an answer to your questions that I've ever seen is the Council on Aging. If they don't know, they put you in contact with somebody who does. They don't just say it's not our job. So we love that. Okay. Okay, so September 8th, our next meeting, we have Conrad Weaver. I sent an email with our upcoming programs. We're actually going to change after Conrad Weaver. Debbie Matheson's going to switch to a later date, but there's a bunch of information. He's a filmmaker. I have some information up here about him. So David and Praytap, I think, are our greeters. That you are, right?
We're switching.
Okay, all right. Whatever, we're gonna have greeters. You are well greeted. But keep an eye on the upcoming programs, beavercreekrotary.com and Facebook. Do we have anything else for the good of the club? Okay, so let's wish our incoming exchange students a great year at Beavercreek, and we'll now rise for the pledge. Karen, would you lead us, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good.
Here, y'all, we have this holiday. Thank you again.